Well, what if you had to talk to the elderly, or to the families, or to the community around you? From your own experience, tell them what?
What would you tell them?
Exactly.
It's not the same if we, black girls, go to explain this issue, right? Rather than if it was, for example, a white girl, because they took it as, what is this girl who comes from Spain or Europe going to tell me about how I should treat my culture or my traditions? You know? So if you have...
Of course, I would explain everything I've been through.
Exactly, but you have that tool that they see you as an equal. Do you understand me? It was much easier for me to go and talk to young people than it was for, say, another white girl to speak to them.
Yes, I understand you.
Because they would say, she has nothing to tell me about my culture.
Well, that's what you were saying about explaining. Well, I would explain to them what I've been through.
Of course.
Well, maybe it's a tool.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
To be able to tell them, right?
That would indeed be my tool.
That is yours, your experiences.
I believe in sharing my experiences, both past and ongoing, to shed light on what I've endured and continue to face. It's crucial to convey that the effects linger, even after undergoing mutilation. It's not going to change it may alter your life, but in a bad way. Can't say good things because, for me, it's a bad thing. It's impossible for me to reassure them with words like, you're doing fine. Well, no, because psychologically it affects me to this day. These repercussions impact my ability to form relationships, and I continue to experience challenges with infections that are difficult for me. This happens to me that I just can't find it.
Well, you would help society with this.
I don't know what to say about this issue.
Absolutely. Sharing your experiences is much more helpful than, for example, it's what we were saying, simply reading a book, right? What you've lived through carries much more educational value, and your insights are more beneficial than someone who has read a book. That's why I mentioned that if black girls go to Gambia or Senegal, or if you go to Ethiopia, or I don't know, if you are South American and you go to South America and you explain it, it's much easier for them to understand because they recognize that you have lived those experiences, followed traditions that you later realize were harmful. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah? For you to go and explain to them and for them to see you as a peer.
Right.
It's much easier for them to understand.
Yes,
you know?
Exactly.
Otherwise, it would not have come to
You
the
are
point that
totally
nowadays,
right.
for example, in villages, it's no longer done.
But hey, that's what's important. That is to say, not to confuse things. Experiences and so on can be used to raise awareness in the communities
Right.
that practice this, not to feed white people's trauma porn. I mean, well, let's see what traumas they go through.
No. I'm not talking about trauma.
Which is also something they like, isn't it?
Yes, I understand.
Exactly.
Then, when you look at the media...
Yes, they love trauma.
Grief and trauma.
Exactly. So, the experiences are good for the community, for them to be aware of what they trigger, what they cause, and to have a clear and real example of the consequences that a person goes through when they suffer from this. But not to... Well, that's it, isn't it? Not to give...
Pity.
Not to feed the craving in Western society for the traumas that others experience, right?
Exactly.
You were discussing the importance of representation within the communities and the difference between being a black person or belonging to the community versus being a white person. It's often seen, and sometimes used as a justification, that when a white person tries to explain this, it's like, yeah, but you have your traditions and culture, and I don't dictate how you should handle them, right? You have your white Western perspective, and I have mine. Therefore, you have no say in my culture and traditions. And I don't care about your perspective. This justification will be, white people always come and give their opinion about our traditions, and they don't do the same for their traditions, you know? We have ours, they shouldn't judge us. It becomes an excuse not to do anything. Even if the person coming here is right, they use that as an excuse. They always want to impose their culture on us, so they come here to tell us what we have to do. And therefore, we're going to keep doing it because it's part of our culture. But on the other hand, what if someone who is part of it comes here?
One of them.
From that community, who is part of your people and says in your face that this is wrong.
And what does that bring?
Clearly, the argument no longer holds true.
Exactly.
It's not the same anymore. They have to reflect and think about it, don't they? Rethink it in a different way.
That is why I believe that we are taking steps forward, but that we must not forget those who are behind us.
Exactly.
They also rely on us in a way. It's not the same for a girl from there to stand up alone and address everything compared to someone like me, who may have the support of people from here as well. According to them, we are the girls who have studied and made progress because our parents had the opportunity to come here and access more resources. So let's take advantage of that.
That's it, exactly.
To be able to work on it and finally eradicate the practice. How much work is left to do?
A lot.
A lot. Can we do it?
We can.
Yes, it's possible. Nothing is impossible.
You're right. Why am I not part of the fight against mutilation?
Why don't you give me psychological, legislative and economic resources to say no to female genital mutilation?